Hey y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a traveler's notebook process video for you. I am going to show you how I take a sketch. This one is from the Studio Calico blog, and how I take it and kind of make it my own. I'm going to be scrapping some photos from Halloween, working on finishing up my October traveler's notebook, and also finishing up the Rebecca kit from Felicity Jane. So I'll be using some of those supplies, and I will put you on fast forward. These are great sketches to use if you go on Pinterest and look up traveler's notebook inspiration. You will probably come across a lot from Studio Calico and from some other places. I like to save ones I like. Then it gives you a jumping off point. And I mentioned in my last traveler's notebook video how sometimes I just jump in with no plan. This time I have a plan, and we will see how it goes. Let's go. To start this layout, I trimmed all of my photos down to 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I thought it was going to be 2 by 2, but that really filled up the page a little too much, so I trimmed them all down. When I printed these photos, I did kind of a muted filter on them. I didn't want to turn them black and white because I didn't want to miss some of the colors, bright colors that come with Halloween costumes, but I also didn't want the colors to be overpowering. So I chose to use a filter and to kind of tone down the colors, and I'm really happy with how the photos came out. I chose a simple background for the left side of the spread. It is a black and white floral print, and normally I pre-cut these to 8 1/4 by 4 1/4, but last time I did that, it kind of came back to bite me just because of the size of the book now. It just didn't quite work. So what I did was cut it a little bit large. I had plenty of room on this big sheet of paper that hadn't really been cut into, and I cut it big, and I'm going to adhere it down and then trim off just so it's the right size, the size that I wanted, and that way everything fit like I had envisioned it doing. I like the simple background that this created. The sketch didn't necessarily call for paper behind these photos, but again, this is just a suggestion, a jumping off point, and I liked having it there just to kind of provide a base for these photos to live on. You see me kind of arranging the photos, playing around with them, and then I will go ahead and adhere them down. I tried to balance it out between big groups and closer up photos. It's a lot going on, but that's okay. I liked kind of encompassing all of Halloween onto one page. And when was the last time you could include 8 photos on one traveler's notebook spread? Loved it. So I'm pulling back in the sketch and trying to figure out where I want to go next for my page. There is journaling kind of in the middle on the right hand side of the spread. I decided that I'm going to use one of these journaling pockets that came with the most recent kit, Rebecca from Felicity Jane, because I think they're the sweetest pockets, and I don't have a typewriter, so some of my journaling is not as neat, so I like having the pocket there to kind of be a place where I can have some secret journaling. And now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to work with the tags. I decided to go ahead and pull this kind of burnt orange paper, perfect for Halloween, and I will trim it using my small paper trimmer to the size that I want the tag. I do want to keep the scalloping on there because I think it's super cute, another nice little detail. And when you're working on such small spreads in traveler's notebooks, it really is the little details that make a big difference. So I cut this down to the size that I'm looking for, making it into a tag. I decided not to punch a hole because I didn't really want to put a ribbon right there, so I'm just going to leave that tag as is. And I'm going to take this extra scrap, trim it to the side, and put it to the side so that I can use it on the left side of the spread. There is a small detail over on the left hand side that looks kind of like a little label or something, so I thought bringing the orange over that direction would be a great idea. So now I'm trying to figure out what I want to use to write my journaling on. I try out some of the cards, and I love the journaling cards that come with Felicity Jane supplies because on the back of the journaling cards there's generally like dots or grid, so it's real simple and easy to write over the top of. I like the flowers kind of peeking through that vellum pocket and adds just a little bit of color in that direction. Here you see me trimming actually what is the packaging of the Felicity Jane paper, and I always say just use all of the bits you can. Felicity Jane is not cheap, but it's definitely worth it for the quality, and because I want to get the most for my money, I definitely save all the little bits, and I'm trimming up the packaging here because it has samples of all of the different papers on the front, and these are the perfect size to use in traveler's notebooks because they are so small. I'm using my kind of torn edge looking scissors, adding a little bit more texture. This texture was not in the main photo, the photo sketch, but I decided I liked adding it in. I'm going to go ahead and adhere down the main burnt orange card, and then you'll see me kind of playing with elements here and there. I like to kind of go back and forth between playing with something and adhering it down. I don't want to adhere anything until I'm sure, but once I know I like an element, then I kind of go from there, adding on little by little. But you'll see sometimes I leave something and don't quite adhere it. That's because I'm still considering where I want it to go, especially that vellum pocket. I really like it, but at this point in the process, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it, but in the end, I end up adhering it down. I decided that I really liked the warmth that that wood tone added in on the right side, so I'm going to use it to matte the little banner tag that I've cut out of the packaging. Again, it's just a little bit of that wood tone peeking out from behind that tag, but I like the warmth that it's adding, and I'll actually end up using it over on the right side of the spread as well. I'm adjusting the top banner ever so slightly, trimming it off again, and then I will go ahead and adhere this banner down below, trying to match up kind of the proportions that are in the sketch that I'm working on from Studio Calico Blog. And I trim off the edge, and I like this little piece. So you see me kind of try it in a couple places. I'm not going to get rid of it, but I am going to put it to the side because I do want to use it again. I find this really cute circle that came in the die cut pack with the Rebecca kit, and now I'm just playing with some die cuts, trying to figure out how I'm going to match the oval shape that was part of the sketch. I don't have an oval, but I think I can just overlap some pieces. Not totally sure, so you'll see me play a little bit, and then when I can't decide, I decide to move on, and I will come back to that little element later on. Since I can't decide on the die cut pieces I want to use, I decided to go ahead and move on to adhering down my vellum pocket. And again, that little note card is just sitting in there. I'll be able to slide it out off camera and add some journaling notes about Halloween. And I'd like to put a little cluster down at the bottom of die cut pieces just to continue bringing your eye down. And this is the fun part of just playing with the Traveler's Notebook spread, just moving pieces around, seeing what you like. And here's where I rediscover that piece I trimmed off earlier from the banner, and I decide I'm going to go ahead and use that. You see me pulling out some of these rubber silicone charms. I'm just playing and moving things around, and that is what I love about scrapbooking and just playing with art stuff. Playing with paper crafts is relaxing. It gets my mind off of other stresses, and I'm having fun just moving around. This is where I decide to bring that wood tone in to the left side, and on the sketch there is kind of a small tag, just a little detail over on the bottom left, and I'm going to add that detail by bringing in some of the colors that are on the top right. And again, I'm using that kind of rough torn edge looking scissor, and I will end up cutting this into a little banner. Now on the sketch it was at the very bottom, but if I put it there it would cover up pictures of my boys, so I find a place on the left side of the page where it won't cover up any faces, and I will end up adhering it down at an angle, kind of off kilter, just like it is in the sketch, but just moved up ever so slightly to work for my outline. Now I'm still playing with paper pieces and moving things around, and I have some rubber pieces. These actually came from a set last fall. I think I got it on the Black Friday sale for Felicity Jane last year in 2018, and there's these cute little rubber crosses and this word that says family, which was just perfect for Halloween because we spent it with our family and our friends who are just like family. I'm going to adhere those pieces down with some liquid adhesive. These don't really stay with just my normal tape runner, so I definitely have to use the liquid adhesive. I'm putting down those little plus signs, and then I include the third one over on the right side of the spread, and you can see me messing again. I just can't decide what circle I want to use. I do end up going with that pink one with the white hearts just because I like that it tones down the orange a bit over there, brings the pink in. One of the things I love about the Felicity Jane line is that it's a little bit more subtle, and subtle is not something I normally do, but I like that I can mix and match these papers and add some boldness on my own and not just through my paper choices. So in this case, I'm trying to add a little bit of boldness through my die cuts and my pictures, and it really lets the pictures tell the story instead of them being overwhelmed by bright paper. Now that I'm happy with all of my die cut placements, I am using some old alpha stickers from Felicity Jane and adding my title of Halloween in here. And you can see in just a moment I actually misjudge, as I always do, and don't leave enough room for the words, so I have to move all the letters over. But one thing I love about these stickers is that even though they do stick really well, there's a little bit of play. They're not going to tear your paper when you're pulling them up if you have to reposition at the last minute, which I really like. So I'm adding the title Halloween, and then of course notes is written across the vellum pocket right there. For one last little touch, I decided I do want to add a border around my photos on the left, and so I'm taking just my black Sharpie and very carefully tracing around each photo, and I feel like this just helps them to stand out, and I really like how it brings that black in from the title over to the left side. And what I end up deciding to do is actually, once I'm done with the photos on the left side, I will add a black outline on the right also, just because, again, I like that it kind of brings the layout together, makes it a little bit more cohesive, and I just like that black element for the Halloween layout. You'll see me in a moment have one little oops where my Sharpie slips, but no worries. I add one last silicone charm to cover it up, and then the layout is done. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button. I will list all the supplies I used below. Some of those are affiliate links, not the Felicity Jane ones, but some of the other ones. And if you use those, it doesn't cost you any more, but it goes a long way to helping support my channel. So I really appreciate that. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.